Namaste and good morning, everyone. Let's start our Sunday class with the mantras first. Om Parthaye Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayan Swayam Vyasen Gratitam Puran Munina Madhya Mahabharatam Advaitam Ritvarshine Bhagavate Mashtadashadhyayane Am Tvam Anusandhame Bhagavad Gita Bhagavate नमो अस्तुते व्यास विशाल बुद्धे फुल अरविंद आयत पत्र नेत्र येन तव्या भारत तैल पूर्णा प्रज्वलितो ज्ञान में प्रदीप प्रपन्न पारी जाताये तोत्र वेत्र एक पाने ज्ञान मुद्राये कृष्णाये गीता अमृत दुहे नमः सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपाल नंदना पार्थो वत्सा सुधीर भोगता दुग्धम गीता अमृतम महत वसुदेव सुतम देवम कंस चानूरमर्दनम देवकी परमानंदम कृष्णं वंदे जगद्गुरुम भीष्म द्रोण तटा जयद्रथ चला गांधार नीलोत्पला शल्य ग्रावती कृपेन वहने कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थाम विकर्ण घोर मकरा दुर्योधन अवर्तनी सो तीर्ना खलु पांडवै रन नदी के वर्तका केशवा पाराशरे वत्सरोजमलम गीता अर्थगंधोत्कम नानाख्यानक केसरम हरि कथा संबोधन अबोधिकम लोके सज्जन षटपदय रह पेपिये मानम मुदा भूयाद भारत पंकजम कलिमल प्रध्वंसी न श्रेयसे मूकम करोति वाचालम पंगुम लंघ्यते गिरिम यत्कृपात्महं वंदे परमानंद माधवम यम ब्रह्मवरुण इंद्र रुद्र मरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यस्तवे वेदै साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदै गायन्ति यम सामगा ध्यानवस्थे तद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यम योगिनो यस्य अन्तं न विदुसुर असुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः. Let's open our books. Chapter number 17. Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga. And Lord Krishna is teaching us about the tapasya. Tapasya. Whether you call it austerity, translate it as penance, but tapasya is a very important part of our life. It really shines us. Tapa. And he said there are three kinds of taps. Tap we do through the body, through the speech, and through the mind also. So last week we learned the tap of the body. Verse number 14. That's where we ended our class. Worship of the gods, the twice born, the teachers, and the wise. So when we do the puja, at a special time, designated time, sitting and doing the puja, that is a tap of the body. Even if your body wants to do something else, but you have made the determination that you're going to sit and do the puja. Or spending time at the feet of the Guru. That is the tap of the body. Then he says purity, shocham, to make sure that this body is clean, inside out. That is a tap. Straightforwardness or simplicity, to be able to live a simple life. That is a tap. And then brahmacharyam, controlling all the senses. Then he talks about non-injury, ahimsa. So dev, dvij, pragya, pujnam, shocham, archam, brahmacharyam, ahimsa cha shariram tapaha uchyate. Okay, so it's a definition of a bodily tapasya. He defined for us in verse number 14. Now let's look at how he's describing the tap of the speech for us. As human beings, we talk, love to talk. And there's a lot of benefit of talking. But what to say, when to say, how much to say? Let's look at what he says. Verse number 15. Anudveg karam vakyam satyam priye hitam cha yat swadhyaya abhyasanam cha ev vangamyam tapaha uchyate. anudvegkaram, causing no excitement. Vakyam, speech. Satyam, truthful. Priya, pleasant. Hitam, beneficial. Cha means and, tat means which. Swadhyaya abhyasanam, the practice of the study of the Vedas. Cha means and, ev means also, vangamniyam of speech. Tapaha, austerity. Uchyate is called. So speech which causes no excitement and is truthful, pleasant, and beneficial. And the practice of the study of the scriptures is called the austerity of speech. We all know that how powerful of a vehicle speech is in human beings. It really reflects our intellectual caliber, mental discipline, and physical self-control when we are speaking. Unless we are well formed in all these levels, our words will not have any force. In fact, no magic about our words. So speech is the constant activity of all of us. It is an outlet through which the greatest amount of our energies are wasted. Speech. So to control and conserve the unproductive waste of energy and to gain an inner wealth through the tapasya. This does not mean that we should have a disgustingly irritating silence, moan. Whenever we need to speak, we should speak. So in other words, power of speech must be made use for integrating the personality. We got to learn the art of speech. In Manu Samriti, Manu Maharaj said, Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat, na buriyat satyam apriyam. Priyam cha na niratam buriyat, eshaha dharma sanatana. Speak the truth in such a way that it is pleasing to others. Do not speak the truth in a manner injurious to others. And then never speak untruth. Though it may be pleasant, this is the eternal path of dharma. Dharmaha sanatana. Speech that causes no excitement, that means no distress. So the words spoken must be such that they bring no disturbance to others. They should not be irritating. They should not be obscene. The real touchstone to know whether we are speaking the right words or not is the reaction of the listener as expressed on their faces. But generally people speak with their eyes shut, and especially when they want to say something irritating. They don't want to look at the expression. So satyam priyam hitam, that is the next part of this verse. True, agreeable, and beneficial. So the words which we are uttering, they should express the truth in an agreeable style for the blessing of others. So in other words, we got to handle our words properly. We all know when we tell a lie, we are wasting a lot of our energy. Not our energy, but other people's time and energy too. So that's why he says Satyam. So the words which bring harmoniously the exact shade of ideas in the intellect are the truthful expression. So in the name of truthfulness, sometimes a person can become disagreeable creature in the society. So Lord Krishna says that speech, sure, it should be truthful, but it should be agreeable also. If the truth is disagreeable to others, the speaker is required to maintain a discreet silence. Okay, so it's not that if it's not agreeable and then we twist our words. No, it's better to stay silent. It is not sufficient that the words in the speech should be honest and agreeable, they should also be beneficial. Hitam. That means the energy which you are utilizing to speak should not be wasted. Unprofitable talking is a great drain upon our energies. Talk only when you want to express agreeable ideas of permanent values, which will be useful to the listeners. So then it becomes a austerity of the speech, because you have to put in a lot of energy understanding what to say, what not to say, what is truth, what is not truth. And then next, in the second line, he says, regular study of the scriptures. If we have to use our speech for that, Swadhyaya is a technical term used in our sacred literature, which really indicates a careful study and a deep reflection on the theme of the scriptures. That is Swadhyaya. It's not just a reading through quickly, like we read a novel or a newspaper. This is a Swadhyaya of the scriptures. We are using our vital energy. And that's why it's called a tapa when we do the Swadhyaya. In fact, a lot of energy is investing when we chant, when we reflect, when we meditate over the mantras of the Upanishads and other scriptures. We all know Thursdays we study the Upanishads. Just to even recite one mantra or to understand one word, how to twist our tongue, it does take a lot of energy. So that's why Lord Krishna says, Swadhyaya abhyasanam cha eva. So abhyas of the Swadhyaya, abhyas, the practice of that. So the first line in this verse indicates the channels of energy which we are using through our speech. And second line shows if we are conserving that energy, we have to use that energy. So don't waste your energy into creating excitement in the other people's mind, or tell a lie, or use your words just uselessly. So don't waste that energy. So where to use the energy? He says, Swadhyaya abhyasana. That is the austerity of speech. When we are sitting down, doing our Chalisa, or singing the Arti, or when we are helping somebody, counseling somebody, we are using our energy. That is a tapa. Okay. And now let's look at what is the tapa of the mind. Because first body, then speech. So it's like from the gross to the subtle to the subtlest. Mana prasada somatyam maunam atam vinigraha Bhav samshuddhi iti etat tapaha manasam uchyate. Mana prasada, serenity of the mind. Somatyam, good-heartedness. Maunam, silence. Atam vinigraha, self-control. Bhav samshuddhi, purity of nature. Bhav. Iti means thus, etat this, tapaha austerity, manasam mental, uchyate is called. Serenity of mind, good-heartedness, silence, self-control, purity of nature. This is called mental austerity. In this verse, Lord Krishna has mentioned 5 noble values. That's why they say we have to live Gita also, not just only study Gita. Because these 5 values in their aggregate effectively produce the tap of the mind. So the very first one is serenity of mind. Serenity of mind can be gained only when our relationship with the world at large is healthier, which is based upon understanding, tolerance, and love. Only then we can have a calmness of the mind. Because then our mind is protected from both the inflow of the stimuli from the tempting sense objects of the outer world and all those whipping desires that march into our intellect internally. Only then we can call it a very calm mind, serenity of the mind. The serenity of the mind, mana prasada. The Sanskrit term really takes our mind towards that, mana prasada. So matyam, that is the second quality, kindness. The warm feeling of affection for all, which really rises in our heart, which is almost like a true devotion and love. That is kindness. It's very divine attitude towards all things and all beings. Kindness. Then he says, maunam, silence. Silence of speech, sure, he talked about. But now over here, silence of the mind. This maun means that inner noiseless calm, which really comes when all those desires we have exhausted, all those passions have been quietened, and there is a calmness of the mind you feel. Maunam. Only in this state of maunam you can have a constant contemplation of God. Maunam. Otherwise, mind is just thinking about these worldly things. Atam vinigraha, next quality, self-control. The above 3, the serenity of the mind and the kindness and the silence, are impossible. All 3 of them. Unless we are able to deliberately control our inner nature. Atam vinigraha. It is almost like an animal in us, very powerful, very vigilant. Just takes us towards the lower nature. So we got to control that to move into the higher spheres. Atma vinigraha. Then he says, bhav samshuddhi, honesty of motive. Self-control is not possible unless our motives are pure and serene. See the connection between all of them. Without any definite goal in life, without planning our onward march towards the ideal, we cannot rise above. There are various temptations where we can fall. So the urge in us that motivates all our mental activities must be inspiring and divine. I'm sure you can easily see that austerity of mind is higher than the austerity of the body and speech. If we learn to master the mind, the body, and the speech automatically get mastered. While the reverse is not necessarily true. Factually, the state of the mind determined the state of an individual's consciousness. In the 6th chapter, verse number 5, we saw Lord Krishna said, elevate yourself through the power of your mind, not degrade yourself. Why? He says mind can be a friend and it can be an enemy also. Often people think that their thoughts, because mind is what flow of thoughts, they think that their thoughts are secret and they don't have any external consequences. But people don't realize that thoughts not only forge their inner character, but also their external personality. That's how powerful the thoughts are. There is a powerful saying, watch your thoughts because they become your words. Watch your words because they become your actions. Watch your actions because they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character because your character is making your destiny. Okay, so that's why the thoughts, the mind is so important. Austerity of the thoughts. So in these last 3 verses, Lord Krishna has given us a clear picture of what truly tap is. In our bodily contacts with the world outside, in our speech and our mental life. The very same tap pursued by different people, and even when they do so with equal faith, we can see the different results. And this is not accidental. The tapasvis are of different temperament. They could be sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic, according to their governing temperaments. They act differently, with different tempo, and with different emphasis. So they come to reap different results. So in the following verse, we'll see that 3 types of tapasvis, according to the nature of their tap. Let's look at verse number 17. Shraddha pareya taptam tapaha tat trividham nare afala kanksha bhi yukte satvikam parichakshate. Shraddha, with faith, pareya, highest. Taptam, practiced. Tapaha, austerity. Tat means that. Trividham, threefold. Nare, by men, by people. Afala kanksha bhi, desiring no fruits. Yuktah, steadfast. Satvikam, satvik. Parichakshate, they declare. This threefold austerity, okay, that means body, speech, and mind, threefold, practiced by steadfast people with the utmost faith, desiring no fruit, they call it sattvic. So that means the tapasya formed in a selfless manner without attachment to the rewards. And faith in the value of the austerity, and definitely should stay steadfast during success or in failure. So no clinging to attachment or anxiety for the fruits. Only then your tapasya is sattvic. You got to stop worrying about the results. Keep your mind in harmony. Because the future is the resultant of the total past modified by the present, or the continuity of the past modified by the present is the future. So do your best right now. Do not worry about the future. So the good desiring no fruit, but all the same practicing with great sincerity. All three kinds of taps. He says, then it will become a sattvic tap. Sattvic tap. And what is a tamasic tap? Or rajasic first? Rajasic tap. Satkar man puja artham tapah dambhen cha ev yat kriyate tat ihi proktam rajasam chalam adhruvam. Satkar man puja artham, with the object of gaining good reception, honor, and worship. Tapaha, austerity. Dambhen, with hypocrisy. Cha means hand, ev means even, yat means which. Second line, kriyate is practiced. Tat means that, ih, here. Proktam is said. Rajasam, rajasic. Chalam, unstable. Adhruvam, transitory. The austerity which is practiced with the object of gaining respect, satkar, honor, and worship. And with hypocrisy is here said to be rajasic, and it is unstable and transitory. So if in our mind we think that we are doing the tapasya and we should be respected by others, or people should show us the honor, reverence, so that means we are looking for the reward. Lord Krishna says it's a passionate kind. Because it is not for the purpose of your own cleansing, but only for getting a cheap respect, reverence, worship. So indeed, it is one of the basest deceits that a human person can practice, actually. Seekers belonging to this group perform their tapa mainly for their propaganda value. That's why Lord Krishna used the dhamb over here. Dambhencha eva. A person might wonder, what is wrong in that? Why can't we have it up like that? That's why Lord Krishna says, this kind of a tap is unstable and transitory. It will not take you towards the goal. Because tap is performed with a low motive, winning the respectability in the society, and it cannot gather necessary amount of intensity. So tap of the passionate can only end in a lot of unproductive and painful self-denials. Okay. What is a tamasic tapa? Verse number 19. Mood grahen atmanaha yat pidya kriyate tapa parasye utsadana artham vatat tamsam udahritam. Mood grahin, out of a foolish notion. Mood means foolishness. Atmana, of the self. Yat means which, pidya, with torture. Kriyate is practiced. Tapaha, austerity. Parasya, of another. Utsadhanartham, for the purpose of destroying. Va means or, tat means that, tamsam, tamsik, udaharitam is declared. That austerity which is practiced out of a foolish notion, murta, with self-torture for the purpose of destroying another, is declared to be tamasic. See, sattvic, there was no motive. You do it because you're supposed to do it. Tamasic, you could be doing the same action, but you want to hurt somebody else. So tap undertaken with a foolish notion, and you are self-torturing also. Tap indulged in for the sake of destroying others also, are of the lowest kind. The tapasvi must have clear notions as to why he undertakes the tapa. That should be fully thought of. He should know what is tapa and how to do it. When the Vedic notion of tapa is misconstrued, the seeker will at last be only torturing himself, ultimately torturing. And self-torture cannot bring any unveiling beauty of the truth of the soul. Sometimes if we are torturing our body, we can have a disfigured personality or even a very perverted emotions or unclean ideals also. So we are hurting ourselves, and in the process we are hurting others also. So this is very unintelligent and it cannot bring the right result. And when these misconceived and wrongly practiced tapa are undertaken by anyone, they bring a sorrow and discomfort to the person and to the others also. So that's a tamasic tapa. Okay. So a lot of verses we studied about the tapasya. Before that, we learned about the yajna. Before that, we learned about the ahar. Now the last topic over here is dan. Dan. The three kinds of charity. Act of charity reduces the attachment of the giver towards the material objects. That is the purpose. It develops the attitude of service. It expands the hearts, fosters the sentiment of compassion for others. Charity. We'll see three kinds of charities. Let's look at verse number 20, Satvik Dan. Datavyam iti yat danam diyate anupakarine deshe kale cha patre cha tat danam satvikam samritam. Datavyam ought to be given. Iti means thus, yat means that, danam, the gift or the alms, diyate is given. Anupakarine, to one who does no service in return. That means no condition attached to the giving. Desh kale, deshe means in a fit place, kale means in time, cha means and, patre, to a worthy person. Cha means and, tat means that, danam, the gift or the giving, satvikam, satvik, samritam is held to be. That gift which is given to one who does nothing in return. Knowing it to be a duty to give in a fit place and time to a worthy person, that giving is held to be sattvic. So that giving which is given to someone because of one's conviction that it is an act that is to be done, like it's my duty to give at the right time, right place, right person, worthy person. So fit place, worthy person, such a charity with the right faith, the right person, right time, that's a sattvic. It's the attitude in our mind. When we think that we don't have enough, we don't do it because it's our duty. That's the point he's trying to make over here. The sattvic. I'm sure you're familiar with a Dead Sea in the Middle East. It's a body of water which is called a Dead Sea. Fresh water, rivers pour into it, but nothing goes out. Because it has no outlet. So consequence of that is that the saline water or the saline level of the water is about 10 times that of the sea. And what is the result of that? Other than few bacteria or the fungi, there is no flora or no fauna in that body of water. Nothing can survive there. The same way as human beings, we have been receiving and receiving and receiving. Can we even imagine how much we have received? From the Mother Earth, from the other devatas also, whether it's a air or a space or a water. How much we have gotten? From the society we live in, how much we have gotten? If we don't give back, we become just like that Dead Sea. We must have the outlet. And that's why our Rishi said, Dana. I still remember when my Guru Dev Ji came over here first time. I used to live in San Diego. Because I came to this country at a fairly young age. I was still a teenager. He told me just point blank, he said, you have gotten so much from this society. Time to give back. That is a dhan. Sometimes we think we don't have enough money or enough knowledge or enough time. Giving is not just one way. Many ways we need to give back whatever we have gotten. दान दिए धन ना घटे, नदी घटे ना नीर, अपने आंख देख लो, यो क्या कहे कबीर. Because we think we don't have enough. Start giving and you will see that how much you get. In Punjabi, my Guruji used to say, भगवान छप्पड़ फाड़ के देते हैं. You start giving. Just have that kind of a attitude. This life of ours, we can break it into 3 stages actually. For our modern purposes. Sure, our rishis, they broke it into 4 stages. But at least 3 stages we should look at. In the first stage, we learn. We went to school, we learned. We learned about this body also, we learned about some vocation. And we learned about the environment also. That was learning. Then the second stage is where we are earning. We all had some kind of a job or something we did where we earned. The third stage we should never forget, returning. So learn, earn, and return. If we don't go through this whole cycle, when we leave this beautiful human body, we will feel very deprived that we haven't done something which we were supposed to do. So that's why Lord Krishna mentioned this dhan part over here. Very important part of our life. Best attitude of charity is to give without even being asked to do so. That's the sattvic. It's just like a giving because it's my duty to do. I often get the calls. Even this morning I got a couple of calls. How much do you charge? I said, ashram does not charge. Okay, we don't charge, but a person who's getting should definitely be giving. Otherwise, this cycle is not complete. So that's why I said the best attitude of charity is to give without even being asked to do so. The second best attitude, so the first one, the best is the sattvic. The second best attitude is to give happily upon being requested for it. Somebody asks you, some good deed is happening, and they ask you, can you help us? Give. That's Rajasic. Third best sentiment of charity is to give with a little grudge in your mind. Somebody asks you for a donation, and later on you found out others did not give that much. And you have a regret. Why did I give so much? I could have gotten away with a smaller amount. That is tamasic. Okay. So next week we'll see, according to Lord Krishna, what is a Rajasic and what is a Tamasic Dhan also, because I want to end the class. We already have gone a few minutes over. So, but the Dhan is very important. Just remember what we studied today. The Tap at 3 levels and 3 kinds. And then Dhan also 3 kinds. But we learned only Sattvic Dhan today. Okay, so let's stop it here and do the Shanti part. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much.